coming to the second while loop, what I have is my a of 0 is 1, which is less than equal to my current a of I, which is 3. So I'll remove it.
Okay.
I'll remove the 3. And now what I'll have is I'll have 1 here.
तो इतना ही स्टार्ट करते हैं. जस्ट वन थिंग बिफोर स्टार्टिंग, आप वीडियो देखते हो, व्यूज काफी आ जाते हैं, बट आप लाइक नहीं करते, सब्सक्राइब नहीं करते.
अच्छा बात नहीं है.
If you like the video, if your content आपको पसंद है, then like the video, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications. So वीडियो स्टार्ट करते हैं. गुड लक. Hi, ma'am. So welcome to my channel. This is the second session for the interview series. And today we will conduct a mock interview of Google L3 level, which is the entry level role in Google software engineering.
All
So
right.
how are you all?
Pardon?
How are you?
I'm good, sir. What about you?
Okay, I'm good. Thanks for asking. So, ma'am, I have my resume here with you, and I must say, some of your achievements are really good. Like, for example, you are a candidate master as well in Code 4.2. That's really great. So, why don't you just give me a brief intro about yourself and walk me through your resume?
Sure. So, sir, as you know that my name is Mang Mittal, and currently I'm a final year undergraduate at Delhi Technological University pursuing electrical engineering. I hail from New Delhi and I did my schooling from New Greenfield School. And currently I'm working as a teaching assistant with a coding institute. And I'm looking forward for
Okay.
software development roles to apply the skills that I currently possess and furthermore to expand the knowledge base. I've also worked with machine learning, to be specific, especially deep learning, and I have a bit of prior experience with web development as well.
Okay.
And
I've
other
seen that
than
you made.
yeah,
Continue.
all right, no sir, continue. Like I was saying that other than that, I also read scriptures, I do meditate, and I do uh, like I love to visit places. Other than that,
Don't we all? Well, this is a very unique thing I've heard from someone reading scriptures. That's really unique, man. Great. So your resume says that you have worked with web development as well. JavaScript,
uh,
HTML, CSS, right?
yes, sir. Like in the lockdown, I was a bit curious with user interface also, so I started a little bit of web development, and I made a project that was file compressor and encoder. I actually deployed it online using front-end WebD only. So for that I used JavaScript, CSS, a bit of CSS and HTML just for the page design, and I deployed it on a PHP server.
Okay. So tell me about which framework do you prefer in JavaScript, Angular or React, and why?
Sir, like I have not worked with any of these frameworks. I have only implemented, like I have not worked with the frameworks. I have only implemented the logic that I had in JavaScript, and I made a front end page with basic HTML, CSS, and a little bit of Bootstrap. So I'm sorry, I haven't worked with these yet.
Okay, no issues, no issues. Do you know about the hosting in JavaScript?
Yes, hoisting. So basically, hoisting is something that, like in C++, what happens is whenever we are calling a function, it needs to be declared beforehand. But
Yeah.
but in JavaScript, it is not necessary. For example, if I am using a function, let's say multiply, to multiply two integers or two numbers, basically. So I don't have to predefine it. What
Okay.
I mean is, before using it, I don't have to actually predefine it. It can be anywhere in the program, and the JavaScript will automatically take care of like aligning the function appropriately.
Okay. Okay. So
So this
again,
this is what I
what is
understand of
hosting?
hosting.
Okay. So how does hosting work? What is hosting actually? If I have to ask.
Okay, like
What you
this
have
is
told
what
is
I
right. In JavaScript, we don't need to define. That's fine. But what I'm
yes.
asking is, won't be there an issue where we don't define? So something there will be a solution that is provided by JavaScript. That solution is called hosting. What actually hosting does?
Yes, so this is what I said. Hosting, what exactly hosting does is that if the function is declared afterwards, like before, I've called the function beforehand, and I am declaring afterwards.
Okay.
So what it does is it automatically shifts that function above it, like it uh, not exactly in the compiler it does not exactly shows this way, but the compiler will know that it is declared afterwards. So yes, we are good to go with it. So this is what hoisting
Okay.
does.
Let me tell you in a very simple language what does is any variable or any method or any function that you are using, you don't need to define that just right. In JavaScript, you don't need to define it, you can use it directly. But what hosting does is before the execution of the code, what hosting does is it puts them on top of their scope so that
Yes.
during the runtime they will not vanish. That's the one answer I was looking for. Push them
All
top of
right.
their scope. And the main part is that irrespective of their scope, it's global or it's local, all of these methods and variables, they're pushed at the top of their scope. That's the thing I was looking to. Okay.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir.
So
That was a very
pretty
crisp
much.
answer. Like,
Yeah. So you've worked with JavaScript, right? So if you have worked of the latest ES6, do you know what is ES6?
yes, it is ECMAScript. Like it's just like in C++, we have GCC versions. Similarly, we have ECMAScript, which defines like standards or protocols for
Okay.
JavaScript.
You know, there was a new keyword defined as let. Have you heard of let?
Yes, it is one of the keyword used
So
to declare
let is actually, yeah, variable. And
variables. Yes,
similarly, there are other variables as variable, var, let,
yes,
and
Bab.
constant, const, right?
Yes,
So tell
yes,
me one thing, if var was there, right? Var was already there, const was already
yes,
there.
sir.
What
Yes,
was
sir.
the need to introduce let there in JavaScript? Any
Uh,
specific purpose it serves?
yes, because like let like I actually remembered it, but I did it like I worked with it a little like a little bit ago, so I don't remember the exact thing, but it was something related to that. uh, var has a var and let both have function scope, like both have function scope, like in whichever
Okay.
function they are defined, they have the scope in that only. But let
Okay.
var does not have nesting scope, like what like I'm not very much clear with this one, but what exactly I mean to say about it is that, for example, I have a loop, like for example, if I have uh like I'm not clear with this one, so I'll just let it pass.
Okay. Let me give you a very crisp and very short answer. You know,
All
there was
right.
var and constant. You must be aware
Okay.
about constant, something variable that values will not change during the program, right? So
Yes.
what var has is what we call as global scope, or the functional scope as we call it, because in JavaScript we talk in terms
Yes.
of functional definition. So it will say
Okay.
global scope, functional scope. But sometimes what we need is we need some block scope. Now you cannot have a block scope using var variable. So hence that was introduced in the latest version of JavaScript to create a block scope for the variable. That's the answer. All
All
right,
right. Thank
so
you.
I'm pretty much convinced. So shall we move to the coding round now?
Sure, sir.
Okay. So you must have received the coder card link, right?
Yes.
Uh, can you switch to that?
Yes, I've switched to it, and I can see a plain text here.
All right.
I've written hi, sir.
Okay, you can change the language in whatever language you're comfortable with.
Okay. Start. So first, I'm just starting the call right now with CoderPad.
Okay, on the right hand side, can you see it now?
Yes, sir. I can see it now.
Okay, so let me just walk you through the question. The question is say that you're given an array number. Okay?
All
and
right.
there is a sliding window size. You are aware with the
Okay.
sliding window term?
Yes, sir.
So the sliding window is moving from the very left of the array to the very right. What you have to
Okay.
do is, in the size of the sliding window is only k. What you have to do is, each time the sliding window moves, it moves right by one position. Okay. So you have to find the maximum in that sliding window for every of size. So your input will be an array, and your k will be an integer, and your output will also be an array. And the output size will be. Can you tell me the output size?
Yeah, sure. If we have an if we have n inputs and we have if the k is the size of the sliding window, the output size is going to be n minus k plus one.
Exactly. So this is the size of your array, right?
Yeah.
That you will return. And to give you an example, you can consider here.
All right.
The array is given and the value of k is 3. So in
All
the
right.
first window, maximum element is, second window is again 3. The third
Yes.
window is 5, and fourth is 5, then 6, and then 6, right? So
Yeah, sir.
I am going to just comment this, and you may start.
All right.
Apart from that, I will ask you to only write the functional part. I will manage the entire remaining stuff, right? You may just write the function that will return an flag.
All right, sir. Got it. So, sir, uh,
Yeah,
just a bit of clarifying questions. Can I ever have k greater than n?
k cannot be
Like,
greater than.
all right. So k is
Given in the,
always less than equal to n.
it's given in the constant.
All right. So, and like, what is the range of numbers I can expect?
10 to the power 9. First, I would like to go you with 10 to the power 4. I mean, you can
All
assume
right.
the complexity to the n square. Or if I'm using 10 to the power 4 and time limit is 1 second for test case, you can assume it will be n square, right? But let's
All
say
right,
if I
sir.
extend it to 10 to the power 9. So I want you to come with the optimized approach as well.
Sure, sir. Got it. So, sir, like a naive approach, like a brute force approach to solve this question is going to be considering each and every sliding window and iterating through
Okay.
each and every window and getting the maximum
Okay.
out of it. So the time complexity for this is going to be for getting the answer for one sliding window. I will the time taken would be O of k, and I have n minus k plus one such windows. So that is basically like
Okay.
n minus k only, or if we consider n only, that would be fine. So the overall time complexity of brute force solution is going to be O of nk, and space complexity is going to be O of 1.
Okay.
But since as this is a sliding window question, I'm thinking for an optimized approach right now, and like
Okay.
a
The
key
brute force approach
a
you
key
told is right.
all right.
Yeah, brute force approach is right. But let's
Yes.
say I change the constant to 10 to the power 9. I want to
Yes,
come with the optimized one.
sure, sir. Like one of the key observation here is that let's consider the first sliding window, that is 1 3 and minus 1.
Okay.
So like uh, so in this, I know that my maximum is going to be 3,
Okay.
and with this there is a one key observation that the element before the maximum are now useless to me. Like as what I'm actually trying to say is that for the first sliding window, I know that 3 is my maximum, and so the one which is before 3 is kind of useless to me. Why? Because
Okay.
this is because as soon as my window starts sliding, I can encounter a number which is greater than 3, or I
Okay.
can encounter a number which is less than 3. But in either case, this one is useless to me. Like I don't need this one at all. I'll be considering two operations. First of all, I will be removing those elements which are less than equal to from the back of the DQ.
Okay.
And second operation which I'm going to do is I will check whether a element has expired or not from the front.
Okay.
And like doing this way, like going this way, what I'll be having is I will be having a DQ which is of decreasing format. Like
Okay.
the elements in the DQ are going to be in decreasing format, and for every sliding window, my answer is going to be the front of the DQ basically.
Front of the window.
Yes, the front of the sliding window is going to give me the current maximum of the sliding window.
Okay. Okay.
So
So tell me, why don't you use a
yes,
priority queue here? Why a DQ? Why
why I'm
not a
not
priority
using a
queue?
priority queue here? Okay, like I can use like let's say that I use a priority queue here. The problem will be
Okay.
that in a priority queue I have access only to the topmost element or like the maximum element. If I be using a max heap here, I will be only having access only to the maximum element, and I cannot I cannot remove those elements, and like it is not guaranteed that I can remove those elements from my max heap as they expire. Like for example, uh, for my when I build my priority queue for 1, 3, and -1, my top is going to be 3.
Okay.
But as soon as I shift my sliding window and it becomes 3, -1, -3, then I know that 1 has expired and 1 should not be in the priority queue, because if later it occurs,
Okay.
it is going to give me a wrong answer. I was telling a continuous approach which will work in nlog n only.
Okay.
So that approach, like I will explain it to you once again. What I was saying is,
We
like
are
what I
running
was,
out of time. I got your approach. I got your approach. So what do you
yes,
think is the most optimized queue? We talked
uh,
about three approaches, right?
yes. So most optimal approach is going to be using DQ only.
Okay. Can you code it now?
Yes, sure. So let's say that it will return a vector of ints and max. Let's call the function as max sliding windows. And what I have is vector an array A,
Okay.
and K is, let's say K is going to be the sliding window size. And it is assumed that K is less than equal to A dot size.
Okay.
So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build my like my DQ. First of all, let me just have a DQ. Okay. And so first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build my DQ for the first K elements only. So for
Okay.
I, and what I'm going to do here is first of while my DQ is not empty,
Okay.
while DQ is not empty, and D dot like back is less than equal to K of I. So what I'm going to do is until and unless my DQ is not empty and like at my back I'm having a element which is less than equal to A of I, then certainly I don't need it
Okay.
ahead. So what I'm going to do is D dot. I'm going to remove it. So for this I'll do D dot pop back. And after that, what I'll do is D dot.
Tell
I'll
me
just
one thing.
add it. Yes.
Where is the vector?
Uh, answer vector.
You'll be
It is
returning a
going to
vector,
be
right?
yeah. Because I'll be returning a vector. So I was about to initialize it later, like right now. So let's call it answer as my answer. So first of like my first of all, what I'm going to do is I'll insert it for the first sliding window, and the answer is going to be uh, front element of my window.
Okay.
So now it's time to slide the windows, and this is how I'll do it. Okay. So I'll start with K now, and I'll do it up till this. So now, first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the elements that have expired. And like, how would I? So, uh, one thing what I'll do is I'll not insert the elements. What I'll do is I'll insert the index of the elements. So I'll make some changes here. What I'll make is uh, I'll be I'm taking the index of the elements because I have to also check the validity. So for that purpose, and I'll not be inserting a of I here. I'll be inserting I here, and I'll be inserting a of b front. Yes. So like it's fine now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the indices which have expired, and like my current window is from k to k minus. Like my current window is from I. Like my what I mean to say here is that the ending is at I, so the starting is going to be at I minus k plus 1.
Okay.
So all the elements which are lesser than I minus k plus 1 should be removed.
Okay.
So while my D is not empty and B front is less than I minus k plus 1. So what I'm going to do is B dot. I'm going to remove the front expired elements. And now similarly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert it again. I'm going to the insertion is going to be same as I did earlier. And as soon as I
Tell me one thing.
Yes,
First,
yes.
you're running a loop from 0 to k, then you are running from k to a dot size. Can you think of an approach where you can run the loop once only, from 0 to n minus 1? That's it.
Like only once, doing it with a single loop. Okay, just a minute.
Because ultimately you have while conditions for the rate, right? Ultimately you are putting all the conditions in while. You can also put it in a one loop as well.
Yeah, sure. So for this thing, what I'm going to do is like as soon as my I is within this range, like 0 to k minus 1. So this is going to be a negative value, and my D dot front will always be greater than it. So I will never remove it. So what I can do actually is I can simply run this very loop from 0 to this 0 to a dot size. This is what I can do. Let me comment it out. So as soon this is the thing. So as soon as I reach k, only then my zeroth index will go out of context and it will be popped. And yes, this is how. And like I have to make modifications. What I'll be doing is I'll be inserting into my answer if and only if k is greater than equal to I is greater than equal to k minus 1.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is answer dot. So I'm just going to insert the answer, and the answer is going to be at the front. So a of 0.
Okay.
So
this way you have the complexity in O and linear time, right?
Yes. So I'm done with this, and let me just let us just dry run once. So let's say let's assume okay. So let's take this very input only. Just a second. So let's dry run this thing. Okay. So here I have k as 3, and this is my given array. So
Okay.
what I do is I am iterating from 0 to, basically I'm iterating over all the elements here. And the first thing what I'm doing is while not of d dot empty. So initially my dq is empty, so it will never execute. This loop is not going to be executed. And similarly the second loop is also not going to execute because d is empty. And I'll just simply have 0 in my dq. So this
Okay.
is here I am going to represent the state of my dq. So I'll have 0 here.
Okay.
So in the second, second when I reach 3, now my dq is not empty, and none of the element is basically out of context because I is 1 here and I minus k plus 1. So that is basically 1 minus 3 plus 1. So that is basically minus 1. So none of my element is out of context here. So I'll not pop from front any of it. But now coming to the second while loop, what I have is my a of 0 is 1, which is less than equal to my current a of I, which is 3. So I'll remove it.
Okay.
I'll remove the 3. And now what I'll have is I'll have 1 here.
Okay.
And now coming to minus 1. Similarly, now like, can I just simply write the states of the DQ and not going through this thing every time?
Tell me one thing.
Yes.
Just for be clear, when in the back of the element will be less than equal to AI, then you will popping it right from the DQ. Tell me one thing.
Yes.
When the front will be less than I minus k plus 1, why are you popping them?
Because it has now, like, it is not, the element is now not into my current sliding window. Like for example, what I exactly mean to say is that if the given array was 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, so for the first, like, for and k is 3, so my state for 0 to 2 is going to be 0, 1 and 2 because
Okay.
the elements are decreasing. But as soon as I reach to a sliding window from 4 to 2, that is 4, 3, 2, now my 5 is out of context here, like my 5 has expired here. So
Okay.
as soon as I reach 3 here, so 3 minus 3, I is 3, so 3 minus 3 plus 1, so that is going to
Okay.
be 1. So that is going to be 1. So 0 is now out of context here, which is less than 1. So I must pop it from front here. So this is to basically
Okay.
remove those elements which are not into my current window.
Okay. So if you're satisfied with the approach, you may run now.
Yes, like it is. So first of all, what I'm doing is I am removing the elements. I'm removing the expired elements. After that, I'm also removing those elements which are not necessarily required. And I am making the current entry right now. And if k is greater than equal to k minus, if I is greater than equal to k minus 1, then I am pushing
Okay.
the front element, and after that at last I am returning the answer. So
Okay.
yes,
We are running out of time here. We have one more question. I don't think you'll be able to
yes, I'm
complete.
satisfied,
So
like
go ahead.
from my side I'm okay with the code.
Go ahead, run it.
All right, so should I run it?
Yeah. Yeah. On your
Okay.
extreme top left.
All right. It is showing error, and
Okay.
for I less than arms, it is showing error here. Like,
That's a warning. That's not an error. That's a warning.
yeah,
I
that's a
actually
warning.
confirm.
Yeah, yeah, because that's unsigned. But
Can you check at
that,
line 49? What is happening at line 49?
yeah. So
Hold on.
40. It's basically, it was nothing. It was a blank line, 49, and I don't see any error right here. Like the parentheses are balanced, and Go back, push back. Like the code seems to be fine.
Let me
Hello,
remove
are
the
you?
warnings for you. Yeah, let me
Yes.
just remove the warnings for you so that you can focus on error. Right?
Yeah.
And now you should be good to go.
Okay. Just running it again. And
Yeah, go ahead, run it.
yeah. So basically, that's a segmentation fault.
Okay, again it's line 49, right?
Yeah, but like I'm checking while not of D empty and A of T dot back is less than
You know, in
equal to.
compiler, it gives error just next line. Remember that?
Uh, yeah, sorry.
In compiler, it gives error just to the next run line, right? If it's saying line 49, the error would be at line 48. You know that, right?
Uh, yes, yes. So
Can you check
um,
line 48 logic?
yeah, what I'm doing is while not D while D is not empty and D dot front is like I'm first of all I'm checking that D is not empty, and after that I'm checking like D front. I'm after that I'm accessing D front. So that is fine. And after that, what I'm doing is I'm popping from front. So D dot pop front. It seems to be fine. Like I don't see anything fishy here.
Oh, tell me one thing. While
Yes.
pushing this value here, d dot push back I.
That is basically current entry. Like I am inserting the current entry here. I'm inserting my current entry here. Like first of all, as soon as I start the loop,
Okay.
after starting the loop, what I'm doing is first of all, I am removing the elements that are not part of my current sliding window. So I'm doing this
Okay.
with lines 47, 48, and after that
Okay.
I am removing the elements which are not required, which may be a part, which are part of current sliding window but are not required because
Okay.
because I already have an element which is coming later and which is a better option.
Okay.
So I'm removing them in line 50, 51, and after that I'm making the
Okay.
current entry which is at line 53.
Okay. Let me give you a hint and tell me whether it works or not. Can you run the code?
Right. It is again giving segmentation fault.
Okay.
Okay, the signal is caused by a read memory access, and yeah, it's a like it's an out of bound like I'm not I've inserted these condition like not of D dot empty only to avoid checking avoid a condition where I'm accessing a front element of a empty queue, empty D queue basically.
That's not an issue. That's not an issue. That's perfectly fine. Let's go with the line by line. Let's debug the code. Okay. So read memory access. Okay.
Yes, the signal is caused by a read memory access. So we are known as this.
Okay. Can you debug the main part? I have not done something else, and I will debug your code function. Okay.
Uh, yes, pardon. Can you say that again?
Can you debug the main function part? Meanwhile, I will debug your code part, function part. Okay.
All right.
Tell me one thing.
I think this. Yes.
Why you have pushed at line number 42? What is this line number 42? Why pushing d dot one? D is empty, right?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Actually, this was the part of my earlier code. I forgot to like erase it.
Okay.
Actually, this was this was the part of the earlier code. I forgot to erase it. Yeah.
You can delete the commented part. Okay. So is it the right answer?
3 5. Yes, it is. 3 3 5 5. Yes, it is.
Okay. So change the vector to 1 to 10.
Create a vector from 1 to 10.
No, change the vector nums to 1 to 10 value.
Okay. Okay. All right.
The output should be 3 to 10, right?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay. So the time complexity will be big of n, and the space complexity will be big of
K.
k. Correct.
Like
Not
if
big
we
of
don't.
k, to big of n minus k plus 1 to be precise.
Yeah, because
That's
if
the
it,
big of
like
n.
if we don't consider the complexity of space complexity of answer.
Yeah. So you can say time complexity will be O(n), and space complexity will also be O(n).
Yes.
So,
Okay.
so yes, I'm satisfied with the approach, and I like the way you talked about the solution in terms of both brute force as well as optimizing it. The
Okay.
one thing that I will really appreciate is you came with multiple solutions because, and I don't think we will have time for the second question. And the second question is a very good one. I would love to solve it, but I think we
Like
have a lot of time.
please, sir. Like I can do it quick. Uh, like it would be fun.
Can
So
you?
please, please.
Okay, so I will give you
Hello.
a chance, but before that, I want to, yeah, I will give you a chance. I will give you 10 minutes for that. You don't have to code it. You just
Okay.
have to think of the approach and tell me the solution. Okay, but
Yeah.
first
Sure.
completing this one. So the judging criteria for such kind of question is that this is one of the most famous asked questions in fine companies, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google. And the
Okay.
reason for the same is it has multiple solutions. Okay.
Yes.
So let me give you solution from my end. You can later. One is the brute force, right?
Yes.
Complexity will be n square.
Yes. Sure.
Second solution if I have to give, I will say max. Some of the approach will discuss it. And time complexity will come out to be big of n into k.
Like
You
sir,
might
as
think
I said,
but
like as I said,
when you will schematic,
yes, I had a max heap approach of n log n.
okay, then you come with the solution, I would love to see it. Because you know when you
Like
create
I also explained it. Like
reality,
I have like I
yeah,
currently have the solution for max heap as n log n.
okay,
Should I
after this
explain?
interview, you can send me the no, I got the approach. After this interview, you can send me the solution code as well if it doesn't seem as okay. But in my
All right.
opinion,
Yeah.
it will take k plus log k into n, so it will turn out to be n.
Okay.
And third approach, if I would tell, this can be solved using stack. And for that
Yes.
time, it is also of n. Fourth, if
Okay.
I have to tell you, these kind of questions can be solved with ABL tree. Do you know what is the ABL tree?
Yes, it is self-balancing binary search tree.
Yep, just help balancing binary. And what is the
Yeah.
complexity of finding in balance search tree? BST?
Log of n, where n are the total entries in ABL
Yep,
tree.
exactly. So the complexity is n log. These are the four approaches that I have told you. And if I remember correctly, there is one more approach. where you can use two pointers. Sliding windows, you can use two pointer, right? You must be aware of two pointers.
Yes.
So that approach also goes for NHTK. And the last one that we come with the most optimized one is DK1. Time complexity comes out to be 4. So you see, these are the 6 solutions that I am aware of. There may be more than that, I don't know. But these are 6 solutions that I am aware of. So what interviewers generally say during these questions is, are you able to come from a brute force approach to any of these optimized approach? Since DQ is something that we don't generally use. I know you came with the approach because you might have solved it earlier, or maybe just with your mind. It can be both the cases, right? But it's just that DQ is the most optimized version of this. So what, as an interviewer, what we say is the candidate able to understand the question? Is the candidate able to understand what complexity will be required and how he thinks in terms of the optimizing the code? And I'm impressed by the way you optimize the code. That's it. So we will not be coding here anymore because we are really running out of time. But I will tell you the second question and you can tell me your approach about it.
Sure, sir.